Hello and welcome to Big Picture. I am Vishal Dahiya and today we will talk about general elections and the women card. Now, the biggest festival of democracy, that is general elections, has begun in India, and almost 50% of the total 90 crore voters this time around are women. The turnout of women voters has seen a rapid increase over the last few years, with the highest being at 65.5% in the previous Lok Sabha elections in 2014. However, this scenario is entirely different when we talk about political equality for women. According to a study conducted by Association of Democratic Reforms, less than 10% of the candidates who contested elections in the recent past are women. This is a far cry from the demand to give 33% reservation to women in political parties and the government. For the general elections this time, so far, 2 regional parties have announced reservation for women in ticket distribution. Biju Janata Dal in Odisha has given 33% and Trinamool Congress in West Bengal has given 41.5% of its tickets to women candidates. So what does this move indicate, and will it make other political parties open their doors for women at the same scale? For more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of guests today. Let me start by introducing them to you, beginning with Aditi Phadnis, political editor, Business Standard. We also have with us Mr. Chakshu Roy, head of outreach from PRS Legislative Research. And we have representatives from both the national parties, that is BJP and Congress. From Congress, we have Pallavi Sharma, their spokesperson, and from BJP as well will be joined by their spokesperson in a little while. Let me begin with you, Aditi. If we look at these 2 announcements, specifically from the BJD and the Trinamool Congress, of 33% and 41.5% reservation for women in the tickets being distributed for these general elections. What are these 2 parties trying to indicate?
Well, I think it's quite clear they're trying to indicate that they want a positive bias in favor of women representation. From their side, they will offer more seats to women. We have seen that so far the outcome of this kind of move has not been very edifying. I mean, reservation is good, and you offer it, and which are the women who are sent in as your candidates. That still has to be seen. Are they sisters, brothers, and wives of politicians who are, who are actually the main people who are seeking the election? Overall, PRS has done a lot of research on this, but overall, I think the trajectory is that women's participation in elections has been falling.
Okay.
As candidates, as active candidates. And I mean, we all know the story about reservation for women and the women's reservation bill and so on. So yeah, it's okay, it's great, but we have to see.
Others specifically, both the national parties will have to emulate this?
No, I'm sure they will not emulate it, because there's a strong lobby which militates against emulating this. I don't think men want to yield place for women because they are women.
Okay.
But we have to see now what kind of women are sent into the legislatures.
Okay, we have the representatives from both parties as well. We'll go to them as well. But let me first come to the only male panelist we have today in the studio, and that's Chakshu here with us. Chakshu, PRS seems to keep a track record of what is happening inside our parliaments, our assemblies as well. So in terms of elected representatives and the kind of trend which we have seen, as Aditi was pointing out, has not been very encouraging in terms of their representation.
Vishal, if we look at representation in Parliament across the last 60 years in our Parliament, and Aditi ma'am can correct me here, but representation of women members of Parliament in Lok Sabha has never gone beyond about 12%. I think in the current Lok Sabha we are at an 11.8 to 12%. And in state assemblies the number is no better. I think in the state assemblies that number would be even lesser if I look across the years. There are some progress that has been made towards representation of women in legislatures, but let's also talk about as to why that representation is important. The Constitution talks about an equality of sexes, right? And So one way to get to that is to put together some kind of an action plan which translates that into representation also. The other part about reservation is that studies have indicated that if there is a reservation for a particular segment, it kind of increases or it kind of redistributes resources in their favor. So that's also a good thing possibly. Over the years, Aditi ma'am, kind of talked about the fact that there have been instances where attempts have been made towards, bringing a law for reservation in legislatures. And those attempts have not been successful, and possibly we can explore that in the program. But there has been a successful attempt where there is a 50% reservations at the panchayat level that has happened. So probably this is a conversation that needs to happen more, and what better time to have this conversation than right now when elections are on.
When the elections are around the corner and the ticket distribution is happening. So let's bring in the representatives of both the national parties as well. Let's begin with the ruling party here. The BJP spokesperson Anila Singh is with us. Ma'am, if you look at the situation right now and the kind of announcement which has been made by two of the regional parties, the BJD and the Trinamool Congress, is it time for national parties like yours to emulate, their example as well and go ahead and bring in more women as candidates, maybe 33%, 40%, or even 50%?
This is going to be a very ideal situation if all the political parties, they respect this type of representation in their own political party. Like we women politicians, like we were striving for 33% reservation bill to get passed, but maybe in the near future it is going to happen. But if we talk about the personal representation of the political parties of women in their own party, then definitely if I talk about the TMC and the BJD, it is a welcome step, and I as a woman politician totally appreciates it. But at the same time, I just want to say one thing. One thing is numbers, that how many women representatives are there in your party, or how many tickets you give them, are they strong enough to contest election? And a second thing is the qualitative representation of your women representatives in your party, and especially if you are the ruling party. So we are fortunate enough that our senior most leadership, who is the Prime Minister of our country as well, he has given qualitative representation of women public representatives from our party. Like we have given the first full-time Raksha Mantri to our country. So definitely we welcome this step. More the women, merrier the situation is. But at the same time, I strongly advocate that whatever representation is there, it should be qualitative.
But as as a representative of the ruling party, do you see things happening within your own party as well this time around? The general elections are around the corner. We're going to soon have the list of candidates being announced as well. So what's the plan? What's the plan for your party?
We are hoping that we are going to have more participation in the upcoming election. But at the same time, in our party, parliamentary board decides that what is going to be the whole game plan and who is going to contest and what type of representation will be there. So it is not my arena to comment on it.
But would you, want the same thing to be emulated in your party as well? As I was saying earlier, 33% maybe?
Absolutely, I think so. Any women politician above party line will like to have that type of representation in his or her, in her own party.
Okay. Let's bring in Pallavi from the Congress party. Pallavi, similar questions to you as well. You might have your own examples from your party, as Anila had about your party giving due representation to women in one particular aspect or the other. But when we talk about ticket distribution or more candidates, more women candidates being put forward by the national parties, Congress doesn't seem to be doing much better than its counterpart BJP.
See, I totally agree with you. There's no denying the fact that the representation of women in terms of in the political arena has been miserable. From independence, since the polity of the country has begun, there's no denying that fact. But the fact also remains, I totally get from where Anila Singh ji is coming. She's a woman. She would obviously want women representation. But it turns out into hypocrisy when your government, which enjoyed brute majority in the Lok Sabha, and we saw every other day bills were being passed without even consultation from the opposition, they could have easily passed the women reservation bill. They enjoyed brute majority in the Lok Sabha. And let's not forget, in 2010, when the Congress government was in power, the bill got cleared in the Rajya Sabha. The bill was passed by the Rajya Sabha and it lapsed eventually because it could not come up in the Lok Sabha when the NDA government came to power. So all they had to do was table the bill and get it passed because they enjoyed a brute majority. The bill was drafted.
Both of
it
your
passed
parties
through
can blame
standing
each other for the
committees.
bill, but let's start from the political parties only. How about giving more space to the women in your own
I'll
organization?
answer that also. See, as of now, the situation is that my party president, Shri Rahul Gandhi, Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji, who is the chairperson for the Congress, have written repetitive letters to the Prime Minister asking for the bill to be passed. Now, the Congress committee just had a CWC yesterday. We assure you that this time there's going to be adequate women representation. Wait for the tickets to come up. The Congress party has not yet announced, come up with the ticket distribution for the Lok Sabha elections. It will happen soon and there'll be adequate women representation. But having said that, I just want to bring out why individual parties making effort is not going to yield that much result as this entire bill getting passed. Because see, there's this notion on ground, and I think ma'am and sir who've done adequate research on this, I don't know if they might differ or agree with me, that women will not be successful even if they're given a ticket. So that's one thing that holds political parties back. But when you have the bill that is passed, there'll be certain seats that are going to be reserved for women. So all political parties on that particular seat will have to give women representation. So at the end, whoever comes out winning it is eventually going to be a woman. So, that gives a boost to the political parties also, that since the seat is reserved for women, they have to ensure women representation from that seat. Hence, individual political parties making that effort will not yield much better results than the bill getting passed in itself.
Okay, let's bring in Aditi here. Aditi, as we heard, both the representatives of both national parties, do you see some change coming around because both of them, sound confident about at least a bit more push from their respective parties, and the add-on part which Pallavi has brought in that, looks like winnability, the criteria of winnability seems to be the stumble block here.
It always is. And from the point of view of political parties, I really don't fault them. It's true, every political party wants to win and would like, regardless of sex, would like the candidate who is capable of winning to be fielded. But that said, we are not even seeing on an experimental basis like Nitish Kumar did at the panchayat level or other levels, an empowerment of women by reservation at the local levels, even in the state legislatures where these parties are in power. And this trend is a secular trend, I think, whether it's BJP or Congress, there's
all of them
hardly
are
any different, hardly any difference. The conscientious sort of dissenters, the Samajwadi Party and the Rashtriya Janata Dal will continue to dissent. So I really don't see much future for a legislative push for statutory reservation for women in the near future.
Okay, Chakshu?
Vishal, I think 2 or 3 different things. There are multiple ways in which, we in India have thought about reservation. One way is obviously reservation at the legislature level. So you reserve constituencies where only women candidates are allowed to fight the election. But the kind of disadvantage there is it restricts the choice of voters to only those 2 candidates. The other way to do it is to, there are countries like France, Sweden, what they have done is they have made quotas for women within political parties. So that's another mechanism to be done. And there the question of winnability comes in, or sometimes political parties might also want to think that, I'll do the quota, but I'll only do it in places where, the chances of winning are either high or low. Right?
Okay.
The bill that came into Parliament, that was earlier referred to, talked about rotating constituencies. So there'll be a constituency will be reserved for women, and after some time it will, you know, change into another constituency for men. That kind of, you know, restricts an individual's incentive to work for their constituents. Because if I'm a man and I'm fighting from this constituency and I know that in the next general election, it will be a women constituency, then, you know, what is my incentive to work towards? So I think possibly, you know, another variation is that you have dual member constituencies. I remember, you know, back in the early days of our democracy, there were constituencies where there was not a representative one member of parliament. A constituency had 2 members of parliament. So possibly an option could be, you know, a male member of parliament or a female member of parliament. But all of these things need discussions and deliberations. You know, you cannot have legislation which can do something of the sort and which can be quickly pushed through parliament. Just on a point of correction, Vishal, very quickly, the legislation that lapsed in the 15th Lok Sabha. It was passed by Rajya Sabha. It went to Lok Sabha and you know, did not get passed in the Lok Sabha. So when this Lok Sabha started, 16th Lok Sabha, there was no such legislation in the House.
They had to bring the fresh bill. Pallavi, I'll come to you, but let me first go to Anila here. Anila, if you look at the entire situation, and we have had you know, one round of comment each from both of you, it looks like you know, the criteria of winnability is again the biggest stumbling block which is there for the political parties. It looks like in a situation in a you know, highly charged up political atmosphere like this, when you have to win elections, you might not want to squander away even a single constituency.
You are right in a way. I will not agree absolutely. But at the same time, before I comment what you have asked me right now, I just want to say, like my friend Pallavi just now mentioned that we came with thumping majority and we didn't pass women reservation bill. I just have to remind her that Indian National Congress had been in power decades and decades together. Even they had been in thumping majority in the parliament, but they never thought that the women representation should be proper and they should go ahead with the women reservation bill. So let us not play this blame game.
Okay.
And we very well know, like, who can be the better example of women competence than INC, because Rahul Gandhi, the president shows extreme dependence on his mother and sister. So they should appreciate that what competence women carry with them. And just now you asked me that the main factor is about the winnability. If women candidates are filed by different political parties, can they win the elections or not? Yes, we are very competent, we can. I mean, this is a myth. And just see, if we talk about the women reservation pattern in the local bodies election. Thousands of women are representing and they are doing fantastic job. And all of them are not proxy candidates or proxy representatives. Many of them, they are doing job fantastically. And the survey and the research has proved that wherever a women representative is there, the progress work has been much more better than the male representative. So there are many factors which women challenge men in the political arena. But coming back to my party, that is Bharatiya Janata Party, as I said in the beginning, with quantity, qualitative representation should always be there. So like you can say, I am giving 40%, 33%, 30% tickets to the women. But at the same time, you are giving tickets to the women on all those places where you know that your political party cannot perform well.
So according to you, Anila, what exactly are the major hurdles for the political parties like yours and your adversaries, that is the Congress maybe, we'll ask Pallavi as well, in not giving that due representation to the women?
I think it is a social and cultural hurdle, I can say. Even in today's date, if you ask any of the parent that what you want your daughter to be in the future, he will say, or I can say they will say doctor, engineer, MBA. They will never say that I will like my daughter to be a politician. So I can say social and cultural hurdle is there. Women are very, very competent, very hardworking, and they have proved earlier also that they can give result 100%. And even in today's date also, we are seeing the politicians from different political parties, and especially if I talk about the ruling ruling party, all the ministers, they are doing the job fantastic. So competence-wise, we are marvelous. We just need a representation and an opportunity to prove it. And one more thing I just want to add, a very quick point. If I talk about the 5 years tenure of Narendra Modi ji as a Prime Minister, he has prepared all women, and I can say about the girls also, through and through, to become a very responsible, economically, social citizens by giving them different opportunities and schemes.
Okay. Let's hear from Pallavi here. And Pallavi, for a change, I hope you would agree with your BJP counterpart Anila when she says that the biggest hurdles are the social and cultural situations.
Yes, I totally second her on that. That there's still some socio-cultural factors and traditional factors that hinder women. Women on their own also are reluctant in terms of putting a foot forward in the political field because of various notions and various traumas that go with it, which is totally understandable. But women need to be encouraged. At least women who are coming forward, they
need to be encouraged.
Yeah, they need to be encouraged, and I think reservation is one such push that you give these women who have decided to enter the political arena. Now, just countering few of the points that Anila ji and Sir
I request if you can be
I'll be
quick
very
with us.
quick. Anila ji said that 70 years the bill did not get passed, though they tend to forget the years that they've also been in power. Nevertheless, I think 5 years is what the constitution of this country gives each government to put its performance on the table. And when you were contesting the 2014 elections, you made sure that it was part of your manifesto. The women reservation bill was part of your manifesto. Then in 5 years, why did you fail in getting it passed? There was a bill that had been drafted. I agree, he said it had lapsed earlier, but the bill was drafted. Various stakeholders had been consulted. It only had to be revived. They enjoyed a brute majority in the Lok Sabha. They could have got it passed very easily. Second, coming to what Sir was saying on the dual member constituency, I think I'm totally against that idea, with all respect to what he has said, because on some scale, it takes away the representation from women. We don't say dual member constituencies from where men are contesting alone. Then why from where women are contesting we would want dual member constituencies? Only because the male counterpart is insecure that my seat would go.
So that's something which is not a good idea.
The women have to take liability for. Yeah, I think it's not a good idea. Women need to be given their own share of reservation, their own push, and that constituency.
Nodding in agreement that yes, social and cultural situation is the biggest culprit here.
I think this is a very, very mature analysis, both on the part of Anila ji and on the part of Pallavi ji, that there are things which hold women back from taking a position in public life. The same rules or the same reservations applied to other professions some years ago. That has changed in other professions, it has not changed in politics. Although there are many more women coming out, the gap continues to be the same. There's hardly any change. Modi ji has done a lot to empower women, but here it's not just that's a drop in the ocean. I mean, you are just saving women from drowning or from becoming invisible. That's not what we want. We want much more than that. So.
It's a long way from here.
Yeah, it's a very long distance that has to be traversed still. I'm not sure if reservation is the only way out. There are other ways, I'm sure. But a lot more thought has to be given, and visible thought has to be given to how women can play a bigger role in public life, because ultimately that is what changes ideas. That's what changes traditions, and that's what changes society.
Quicker and effective steps will have to be taken by all the political parties. Final comment from you, Chakshu, on what you believe that can be the way out from here onwards to ensure that women do get that representation which is their due.
I think more cross-party dialogue, more consensus building. I think it's great that these conversations are happening now when elections are impending. But I wish that these conversations continue to happen after elections finish, and then whichever government comes into power, they kind of take these conversations forward. I think consensus building and having these conversations is going to be the key in having some kind of a reservation for women in parliament.
Okay, so there it is, spelt out for you from the representatives of both the national parties as well as the experts who were there with us on the panel, that there needs to be more conversations like this, that's one, but all political parties and their leadership will have to make a serious and an effective effort to give that due representation to the women in their parties as well as in public life. We'll come back again tomorrow with a different topic and different set of guests. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.